Tim Burton is undoubtedly one of the few directors who can be said to have their own style. Some people may like it, some may not. But throughout his career, Burton's films always have a distinctive look, or as it's commonly known, the director's signature style. Some films have benefited from it, while others have not. In this video, we will be talking about the career of the gloomiest director in Hollywood. Enjoy. In order to understand how the director acquired his unique style, let's start with a well-known therapy technique, namely, going back to his childhood. Tim Burton was born on August 25, 1958, in Burbank, California. As the director himself admits, he was a rather unsociable child. He preferred to go to the movie theater to watch horror films alone, than go to a party. Add to that the fact that the director lived next to a cemetery, and his love for the macabre becomes quite understandable. After graduating from high school, Burton entered the California Institute of the Arts, where he made his first short film, entitled Stalk of the Celery Monster. His debut work caught the attention of Walt Disney Productions, whose executives thought that Burton would make a great character designer for the animated film, The Fox and the Hound. The fact that none of Burton's ideas ended up in the final version of the cartoon caused the bigwigs at Disney to doubt their decisions to hire the young artist. Nevertheless, the studio was in no hurry to cut ties with the novice director, nor was Burton in any hurry to adapt to Disney's style, and continued to create projects the way he envisioned them. The result of this approach was a short film called Vincent.
Vincent Malloy is 7 years old. He's always polite and does what he's told.
For which the director also wrote the screenplay. Continuing to test Disney's patience, Burton followed up with a short film adaptation of the famous fairy tale Hansel and Gretel. The studio's producers accepted the project with roughly this look on their faces, and decided that they would only air Burton's work on their channel once. It wasn't until the director presented his next work, a short called Frankenweenie, about a boy who brings his dead dog back to life, that the Disney bosses decided that they have to have a talk with him. In addition to the film being too scary for children, Burton's short film project had an abnormally large budget. The 30-minute film cost Disney $1 million. The studio cited the project's high cost as impractical and used it as a reason to terminate their contract with the director. However, Burton himself didn't consider his work scary at all and claimed that the children had screamed in fear while watching the animated film Pinocchio, which had been packaged with his own work. After parting ways with Disney, Burton set out on his own. Fortunately, he almost immediately met popular comedian Paul Reubens, who was a fan of Burton's work and helped him secure the director's chair for the film Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Thanks a lot, dudes.
Burton's feature film debut was a success, ultimately grossing $40 million against a budget of $6 million, and receiving good reviews from critics and audiences. Inspired by this success, Burton set to work on his next film project.
It's him, Beetlejuice.
Which was released in 1988. This film became the director's first full-length film to feature the visual style that would become the hallmark of most of his works. Burton cast little-known actor Michael Douglas, who was already going by Keaton at the time. According to Keaton, he had to use a pseudonym to avoid confusion with the more famous Michael Douglas. Alec Baldwin and Winona Ryder also played major roles in Burton's film. The Gothic comedy was a breakthrough, not only for Burton, but also for Keaton. The film grossed $73 million against a budget of $15 million, and was praised by audiences and critics alike. After Burton showed the world his passion for the Gothic style, and more importantly that he was good at it, it would have been a mistake not to entrust him with a movie about the most famous Gothic comic book hero ever. Fortunately, Warner Brothers Studios realized this and quickly offered Burton the job. The director pounced on the opportunity, and the following year, Batman premiered. According to many viewers, this was the best adaptation of DC's dark comic book hero. After a successful collaboration on Beetlejuice, Burton once again invited Michael Keaton to play the role of Batman, and also enlisted the support of Jack Nicholson in the role of the Joker. The film turned out to be a phenomenal success. It received a torrent of rave reviews from audiences and critics, grossing $411 million on a budget of just $35 million, becoming the highest grossing film of that year. It even beat out Disney's The Little Mermaid, which must have made the victory all the sweeter for Burton. After the success of Batman, Burton transitioned from being just a visionary director to becoming a box office director with his own signature style, and it had a huge impact on the number of offers he received from various studios. But Burton was in no hurry to take on the next blockbuster. Instead, he returned to making quaint little films that had been floating around in his mind for a long time. In 1990, Burton created Edward Scissorhands, based on a sketch that the director had drawn back in his youth. This new film didn't feature Keaton, as the director had found a new favorite who would hold status as such for years to come. By the 1990s, young Johnny Depp certainly wasn't a nobody in Hollywood. After starring in the series 21 Jump Street, the actor had gained some popularity, albeit primarily among teenagers from whom the series was intended. Therefore, taking on the leading role in Burton's latest film was sort of an experiment for Depp. Unlike his character in the movie Crybaby, which was released that same year, the actor took on a whole new image. For Burton, this project was nothing new. He would stay true to his unique way of injecting positive messages into seemingly dreary stories. The result was another successfully executed film. It was highly praised by critics and moviegoers, and grossed $86 million at the box office against a budget of $20 million. If you make the highest grossing film of the year, then expect to be invited to shoot its sequel the following year. After taking a break from movies for a couple of years, Burton returned in 1992 with a Batman sequel, symbolically entitled Batman Returns. The project featured a truly loaded cast. Michael Keaton reprised his leading role, only this time as an established star. Joining him were Michelle Pfeiffer, Christopher Walken, and Danny DeVito, whom played one of the greatest antagonists in the history of cinema. As a kid, there was no villain I feared more than the Penguin from Batman Returns. Even when I found out that he had been played by the funny guy from the comedy Twins, I still had nightmares. Even though the sequel fell short of the original in every respect, it was still seen as a decent film by audiences and critics, and grossed significantly less at the box office, $266 million to be exact. During the break between Batmans, Burton could have gotten involved in another superhero project when Nicolas Cage invited him to direct a Superman movie written by Kevin Smith. But either the world wasn't ready for Nicolas Cage in red spandex, or the bosses at Warner Brothers simply didn't think the film would be a hit. The project was scrapped just a few weeks before filming began, leaving audiences with nothing but some archival footage from the set. After finishing with comic book movies, Burton returned to his favorite style by releasing the Gothic animated film, The Nightmare Before Christmas, for which some mistakenly credit him as the director. The reality was that Burton served as a producer on the film and had a hand in writing the screenplay, while the film was actually directed by Henry Selick. Those who were certain that Burton had directed the film had good reason for thinking so, because the film was stylistically very similar to the director's previous works. To make matters more confusing, all of the promotional trailers presented The Nightmare Before Christmas as a Tim Burton film, which certainly didn't please Selick, who had done an excellent job on his part. Critics and audiences were delighted with The Nightmare Before Christmas and gave the film lofty reviews, helping it gross $50 million at the box office with a budget of $18 million. The Nightmare Before Christmas was notable for Burton in that it marked another collaboration between him and Disney, who developed and distributed the film. The following year, Burton returned to the director's chair for the film Ed Wood, starring Johnny Depp, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Bill Murray. The film, which tells the story of Edward D. Wood Jr., widely considered to be the worst director in cinematic history, was warmly received by audiences and critics, but failed miserably at the box office, earning just $5 million with a budget of $18 million. But Tim Burton's filmography took its hardest hit from his next project, Mars Attacks, which spared no expense neither on the budget nor its ensemble cast of star actors. The film features the likes of Jack Nicholson, Michael J. Fox, Glenn Close, Pierce Brosnan, and Danny DeVito. However, even such a star-studded cast couldn't ensure a high turnout at the box office. With a budget of $70 million, the film was only able to gross $37 million in ticket sales in the US. At the same time, audiences and critics were divided into two camps regarding the film's quality. Some considered the plot to be an excellent satire on blockbuster movies about alien invasions, and found the film quite funny, while others thought it was stupid and over the top. In the end, overall reviews for the film landed somewhere in the middle. In 1999, Burton returned to Gothic novels and washed out colors with the thriller Sleepy Hollow, starring Johnny Depp and Christina Ricci. Many critics agree that Sleepy Hollow was Burton's most gruesome film, but also one of his best. The film's violent scenes gave it an R rating, but despite age restrictions on viewership, it still performed well at the box office, grossing $206 million against a budget of $70 million. Audience reviews only confirmed that they enjoyed the movie and felt it was worth their money. Back on the path of profitability, Burton decided to take on an ambitious project and remake the film adaptation of the novel, Planet of the Apes, inviting Mark Wahlberg, Tim Roth, and Paul Giamatti to join his new project. When literary works are adapted for the silver screen, they are often compared to their source material, but in this case, the film was also compared to the original 1968 movie, and in all respects, Burton's film was inferior. Some critics even called it the worst film in the director's career. Burton's only consolation was that the film marked the beginning of his relationship with Helena Bonham Carter, whom he had met on set. After that, she and Johnny Depp were invited to appear in all of Burton's films for the next several years. Speaking of Depp, the director was forced to replace him with Ewan McGregor in the film Big Fish, because Depp was preparing for his debut as Captain Jack Sparrow in Pirates of the Caribbean. Whether this replacement was a help or a hindrance is unclear, but Big Fish turned out to be a wonderful film and is one of my favorites. This time, Burton moved away from the dark tones and saturated the film with bright colors, without losing the ability to captivate the audience with strange characters and stories. Big Fish may be the most touching film in Burton's career. The director's sentimentality resonated with audiences and critics, who lauded the film in their enthusiastic reviews. But what some saw as a change of style was actually a small experiment by the director, and in his next project, he got back to his roots with the release of the animated film Corpse Bride, this time with Johnny Depp on board. $117 million in box office revenue, high ratings from audiences and critics, and an Oscar nomination in the category for Best Animated Film demonstrated that audiences' love for Burton's familiar style hadn't diminished at all. But then, Burton's career took a downturn when it came to original ideas, launching a string of adaptations, not all of which were well received by audiences, although it started off quite well. 2005 saw the release of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which was fairly well received by audiences and earned $470 million at the box office with a budget of $150 million. Critics, for the most part, shared the audience's enthusiasm and gave the film quite favorable reviews. This was followed by an adaptation of the story of a ruthless barber named Sweeney Todd. This time, audiences and critics were more pleased overall with the film, and its box office revenue amounted to a healthy $150 million. Against a budget of $50 million. Despite his enthusiasm for movie adaptations, Burton's version of Alice in Wonderland fell flat upon its release in 2010, despite the film grossing over $1 billion at the box office, making it the highest grossing film of the director's career. Audiences and critic reviews were extremely mixed. Many spoke positively about the film's visual style, but simultaneously noting that the visuals were the film's only redeeming quality. In 2012, Burton continued his streak of reimagining previous works with the release of Dark Shadows, based on a TV series of the same name. Very few viewers and even fewer critics were satisfied with the director's work. The film brought in $245 million at the box office with a budget of $145 million, and made it on the list of Burton's lesser works. That same year, Burton took his short film Frankenweenie and expanded it into a full-length feature. The project had a drastically different reception from his previous premiere, but in a good way. Fans of Burton were thrilled to see him return to the style that they had all come to love. The film was also met with warm reviews by other viewers and critics. Burton's next project was the drama Big Eyes, starring Amy Adams and Christoph Waltz. Despite the fact that the film was far from Burton's usual style, both audiences and critics alike rated it quite highly, praising the film's well-developed characters. However, his next project, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, in some ways suffered the same fate as Alice in Wonderland. While Burton was unable to replicate the box office success of Alice, there were plenty of criticisms that the film had little to offer beyond its interesting visuals. Speaking of Disney films, it's time to talk about Burton's next project, Dumbo, which was also released under the auspice of the media conglomerate. And while Alice, despite its poor reviews, could at least boast of its big box office ticket sales, Dumbo only received average ratings and brought in box office earnings that, for Disney, were laughable, at a measly $350 million. The lackluster results brought the relationship between Burton and Disney, which was never what you would call simple, to an end. Burton would go on to compare himself to Dumbo the elephant, with Disney as the circus from which he wanted to escape, criticizing the studio for its recent focus on superhero franchises and adding that he would never collaborate with Disney again. But, as can be seen from Burton's biography, never can eventually turn into someday. After causing a stir with the movie Dumbo, unfortunately only in the press and not in theaters, Burton decided to transition from the big screen to smaller screens. As luck would have it, Netflix was standing by to welcome the director with open arms. Everybody knows what came out of this union. The premiere of Wednesday was probably the film industry's most talked about event in late 2022. Netflix never got tired of sharing their streaming statistics for the series, which were impressive by any standard. For a moment, it seemed like Ortega Mania had gotten out of control, and try as one might, it was virtually impossible to hide from the viral dance. Okay, so the hype is one thing, but what about the series itself? In my opinion, it turned out to be a really good show. And most importantly, it had Burton's style, or rather, the style of Barry Sonnenfeld, director of The Addams Family in 1991. Luckily, it was a perfect fit for Burton. I would call Wednesday a light, atmospheric series that would make for a fun evening if you decide to watch it. Of course, the series' success could not go unnoticed, and Netflix had rushed to assure fans that the show would be renewed for a second season and would also be directed by Burton. In addition to season 2 of Wednesday, the director plans to start works on the sequel to Beetlejuice. But so far, it's all just speculation, as no details about the project have emerged. As far as the content of this video is concerned, Burton's lengthy career in the film industry can be said to have remained largely true to the director's style and vision. His troubled relationship with Disney is a good example of this. Despite the studio's attempt to impose its views on him at different stages of Burton's career, he continued to create projects the way he wanted to see them. To repeat what I expressed at the beginning of this video, whether you enjoy Burton's style or not, the fact that he indeed has one, and that it is distinctive, is undeniable. And on that note, this video has come to an end. This has been the story of Tim Burton. If you enjoyed what you've seen today, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. See you all very soon.